Page 32, question number 8 reads, find the standard deviation of the data in question number 6. Show a formula and your calculations. And here I've got listed, actually you need to scroll down to see it all of the data in question number 6. Well, let's just start with the formula. So, standard deviation, to find the standard deviation of a data set, what we do is we add up. So we've got a summation of x minus x bar. So we take every data point, subtract the mean, and square these values, and then divide everything we have by n minus 1. Okay, so I've got the data listed here because we're going to need to take every one of these numbers and subtract the average. Well, in the previous problem, we should have figured out that the average x bar is equal to 16. We need that before we start. So we've got x bar is equal to 16. We also should know n, the number of data points, is 20. Once we have this information, we're set to go. And I'm going to get my calculator out now so that we can use it as we work. So first of all, first thing, now if we follow order of operations, so think back to Algebra 1. First thing we do is what's in the parentheses. X minus x bar means we take every data point we have and subtract the mean. We subtract 16. So subtracting 16 from each of these gives us 1, then 2, then negative 3. So the first thing, I've got all this data listed so that we can subtract 16 from each of these numbers. Some of these will be positive, some will be negative, which is what we expect when we subtract the average, which is, in theory, right in the middle of our data set. So once I subtract 16 from everything, then we're set for our next step. Okay, I hope all these values are correct. I think we should be good. So now, first step, take care of what's in parentheses, x minus x bar. Second step, again, following order of operations, is to square each of these numbers. So each of these numbers we have, we need to square, which, fortunately for us, they're all pretty small numbers, so squaring them isn't bad. Now notice, remember before some of these numbers were positive, some were negative. Once we square them, all of these values will be positive. If you type this in your calculator incorrectly, you may see some negative values. Keep in mind the values after you square will always be positive, no matter what your calculator tells you. So this list at this point should be all positive values. We have some zeros in there, but just make sure you don't have any negative values. Okay, so let's see what we've taken care of so far. So far, we took every x minus the mean, we squared every value. Next in our order of operations is right here. Now that symbol, it's a Greek letter sigma. It means add up your list. So we need to add up all of these numbers in our list right here. So starting with the 1, 4, 9, etc., we need to add all these numbers together. So I'm going to let my calculator do this part of the work for us. I should have had this in here in advance to save myself a little bit of time, but I don't think it will take me that long. Notice we're not adding the original data or the second set, it's that final set of data that we've got. So first we subtract, then we square, and then this list is the list we add. Okay, so now what's on top of this fraction, I'll bring it down here, is 166. What's on bottom is n minus 1. N's a number of data points, so I know 20 minus 1, we're good. If we divide 166 by 19, now we get we have to be careful here. I made a mistake up here with my formula. It's actually the square root of this entire calculation. So I'm going to add that here. I apologize. But what we have is the square root of about 8.7 or so. Now if we take the square root of our answer, again I'll use my calculator here, square root of the last answer, I get a standard deviation of approximately 2.96 or so. So standard deviation, notice none of these steps were that difficult, but altogether it can be a difficult process. So let's run through it again. First step, we subtract x minus x bar, every data point minus the average. Second step was to square every number in our list. Third was to add up the list that we had. Once we get that value, we divide it by n minus 1, in this case 19. And the very last step, the one I almost forgot in my formula, is to take the square root of that answer, which gives us about 2.96.